At the age of 19, Sir Harold Rowden wasn't dreaming about having a job or becoming a father. Instead, he was living in torn-up fields of mud with his rifle by his side, in trenches that at any second could have been raided by the enemy, not knowing if he would see his family again. He served overseas, fighting for Canada during World War II. On June 6, 1944, he, along with 156,000 other men, stormed the beaches of Normandy, France, to seize the beach by the codename of Juno. For this day, and many others, he has earned 8 of the highest awards for his bravery and sacrifice, including France's highest honor, the rank of Knight of the French National Order of the Legion of Honor, which is equivalent to the Order of Canada. He has been back to where he fought, including the 75th anniversary of D-Day. Sir Harold Rowden is now fully retired, and when we called and asked him if he would like to come in and answer questions from students, he didn't have to think twice. Joining us now in the studio is Royal Canadian Artillery World War II veteran, 13th Field Regiment, Knight of the French National Order of the Legion of Honor, Sir Harold Rowden. So the first one we had is, can you briefly tell us about yourself and what you did in the war?
Well, yes, I can. I joined up in Picton, Ontario. I was born and raised in Port Hope, Ontario. Mm-hmm. And I'm one of 13 children. I had 12 brothers and sisters.
Wow.
The largest family in town.
I bet.
And the roughest. But anyway, at 15, I joined the Army. I had my 16th birthday, and I was stationed in Queen's Park in London, Ontario. And from there, I was transferred to another division, and we went down to Sussex, New Brunswick, and I was on draft for overseas. Mm-hmm. Well, I was only 16 at the time. So my sister says, "You're not going overseas. You don't have to be in this war." Because of that, I was only 16. So she phoned my commanding officer, and right off the bat, I was hauled up on the mat. Well, I lied to get in. That's what it was. But my medical, the doctor looked at me and he said, "Son, how old are you?" And I was 18, sir. Well, he knew damn well I wasn't 18. I never shaved or nothing. So he looked me up and down. He said, "Well, you're big enough to carry a rifle. Go on." Well, that's exactly what he told me. Mm-hmm. So, and then they gave me a suit, an army uniform. Christ, I thought I was the King of England. But it fit me like a tent. Like, it was way too big. And so anyway, we got that straightened out. And I did all my basic training in Peterborough, Lansdowne Park, and I became a corporal. But now, mind you, I might be getting mixed up here because I'm 95 years old. I forget.
Fair.
See, that was 75 years ago. But anyway, I did go. Finally, I went overseas as reinforcements. That's when I got over there. That's why I was placed in at the 13th Field Regiment when I was in England, like we were training. But we knew that there was something big was coming up because we were on landing craft, going out in the channel, come out landing, practicing. And we'd have to make sure the vehicles were all right and everything like that. So, no, mind you, there's lots of things happening in between time, but I haven't got time to tell you everything.
Yeah.
All the girls I chased in London.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
And the beer we drank.
Yep. Yep, that would have been the time.
That was another episode. I could write a book on that one. But anyway, we had one hell of a good time, in England. But we weren't thinking about fighting Germans, But I went over on the Queen Mary. I think it was a Queen Mary or one of them, and it was converted into a troop carrier. Mm. And it was too big. We landed in Greenock, Scotland, but the boat was too big to win the harbor, so that we were way out halfway across the ocean, in my mind, but it wasn't. And then we got into littler boats and went in the shore. And of course, in Greenwich, Scotland, there was, an army barracks, whatnot. So we were put on a troop train. I remember this very clearly. So we were all put on on a train, and we headed south to London. South of London, where the Canadian Army was. Mm. Well, we were coming through London that night, and the Germans were bombing it.
Yeah.
Well, we'd never seen anything like this before. We were all stuck our heads out the window looking in, and as the spotlights were going, they'd pick up an aircraft in the sky and fall and try to shoot it down.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it was an experience.
Yeah.
And it scared the hell right out of me and I think everybody else, because we were only kids.
Yeah.
No. So we did land. We got down to the barracks, and from then it was all training every day. And then, like I had a mechanics course in the Army and a motorcycle course. So they needed dispatch riders. So they asked the whole group of us, well, I'm just a young lad, and I'll go. Give me a motorbike this. So they give me one, a Norton. That was never again. That was enough of that. So, and when on the invasion, there's pictures in here I could show you. As far as you could see in that English Channel, there was landing ships, barge, we call them barges, but they're craft, and thousands of them, as far as you could see. And we knew there was something coming up. And then one day it looked like a million of us, but there's a few 100,000 soldiers around Southampton and Bournemouth. And we were built out in different houses. And when it come our turn, we put on the landing craft and we got out just offshore. Eisenhower got on the loudspeaker, and that's when he gave you're about to embark upon a great crusade. We had an idea, but we weren't sure. And the boys were playing poker, on their land for something to do. And then they pulled out, and holy jeez, all hell broke loose. The sky was just full of aircraft. And you could see, as soon as we got out of bed, we could see the coast of France. And it was just, to me, it looked like a big ball of fire, because they were bombing hell out of it, the aircraft.
Yeah. And
that morning, about daylight, they started to go ashore, and that's when the crap hit the fan then. So I'll tell you.
I bet.
There's the door, I'll never forget, but I want to forget it because there's men all over the place, and it's not very nice.
That would have been very...
Then we kept going, and I got hit after a while, but anyway, I thank God because it didn't kill me. Mm-hmm. But there was too many, my buddies were still over there. I saw it.
Yeah. Wow, that was an amazing answer. Thank you so much.
That's where I go. When I go to the cemeteries, I've been to many of them over there.
Mm-hmm. They're all, and all of the Canadian cemeteries
are beautiful.
As the
eye could see, there were little red crosses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Terrible.
I was one of the students on the 75th anniversary. I was one of the students who went to the 75th anniversary as well. So we would have been there at the same time that day.
Was you in Holland at the Apple Roaring Parade?
I wasn't in Holland, no.
Oh.
We were in Italy, France, and Belgium.
No, I never went to Italy, but I was in Holland and Germany.
Yeah. Wow. And we visited Benny-sur-Mer.
Benny-sur-Mer,
yeah, which was beautiful. Yeah. And a few
so
other
you
ones.
were in the cemetery there?
Yeah, which was very touching.
Terrible, isn't it? Every little town, I think, in England, or not in England, in France, there's a Canadian War Cemetery.
Yes. Yeah.
So
it's amazing.
If anybody tells you they weren't scared, they weren't there. Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you did have siblings, and we just want to know what were their names, and also if any of them served in the war, what did they do?
Well, they all served in the war. Mm-hmm. But in different theaters. I'm in the right corner. I was the only one, yes, that's me.
Yep.
And I was the only one that went to Europe.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the guy under me, Gord, before I say any more, they're all gone. The whole family's gone except me. I'm the only one left.
You're the only one. You're
Yeah.
the only brother.
But that's Gordon, and he went to Korea, and he won the Military Cross for bravery. There's Bob on the bottom. He went to Korea. Yes, sort of. And go left. Ted, he was the only boy in the family that couldn't get in because when we were kids, we hit him on the forehead with a golf club, and he had a fractured skull.
So he couldn't serve because of
No,
his...
they wouldn't take him. Well,
Wow.
every time he breathed, you could see a little spot in his head going in and out.
Oh my goodness.
We fractured, just damn near killed him. But anyway, but they wouldn't take him.
Yeah.
And that next one's Donald. He was in the Navy, and the top one on the left is Bill. He's my older brother. There's Bill, then I'm the second boy,
Okay.
and then there's girls in between. There was a lot of rainy days when Dad was a young man. See? He had to go home because he wouldn't work. It was a rainy day. You catch on? No.
Well,
making kids.
yeah.
Well, you don't work and it's raining.
I got it now. Yeah, I bet that's... Oh boy. And then the girls in between.
Yes, but none of them served.
No, they
But they're all gone now.
they're gone as well. Interesting.
I
Wow.
had 2 sets of twins.
2 sets of twins.
Yes, boys and girls.
Whew.
And they're
Wow.
all, the boys are still alive. The 2 twin boys are still alive.
Oh, okay.
But not brothers, they were my own children.
Yes. Yes, I gathered that now. So our next question is, did you enlist or were you drafted?
No, that's, you think. I'm just trying to correct your mistakes.
Yes, I just had these questions. I remember you answered in your first one.
I was 15 years old.
Yeah,
I
you
didn't
lied
have
to
to go
get
to
in,
war.
right? Mm-hmm.
So I enlisted. I wasn't
Yeah.
drafted. They didn't, in the Canadian Army, they didn't start drafting until the war was
The end
about
of
half
the war.
over.
Yeah. Do you remember the date that you enlisted?
I know it was in the spring of the year, because I hitchhiked from Port Hope to Picton to join up. And it was sloppy. And other than that, I can't remember the date.
Spring?
So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What was your motivation to enlist?
Well, I went to grade 8, so that was a big thing for me, because I was stupid and dumb.
I don't believe you.
I went to, and I don't even think I passed grade 8, because we used to play hooky a lot, But there was nothing to do, and there's no money, when I did find a bit of a job, 10 cents an hour, a nickel an hour. That wasn't living business. Anyway, so I decided to hell with this, I'm going to join up. And I got a whole $1 a day.
And you said you were 15? Or
I was 15
when you enlisted? So the next question we have here, which is a student question, is why or how did you choose that specific branch of the military?
I didn't.
You didn't, you just thought that's
Yeah,
where you
when
went?
I was transferred overseas as reinforcements. Well, I went to driver mechanic school in Canada when I was 17 or so, And when I got over there, they segregate you, the interview to find out what you'd be best at. Well, I was a young bucker and I wasn't married or nothing, just raised with hell. I thought I'd like to be a dispatch rider. Here's your motorbike, good luck.
Wow.
That's exactly how it. But they have a list of, the units that need the volunteers. Like that's what we were for, a volunteer. And they place you, the government.
Yeah.
So,
So
I didn't really pick
That's
it.
where you ended up.
But the irony of the whole thing, that after we get into action in Bretteville and little villages in France, my officer, he was from Aurelia, Jim Crutcher. And I was his dispatch writer, his DR they called it. He'd give me messages, and he was at the guns. And I thought maybe have to go from here, halfway to Barrie or 6 or 8 miles, but
right.
he'd just give me the numbers on a map, and I'd have to figure out where to go. And here I'm, young buck on a motorcycle, scared.
Yeah.
But you figure it out. You only get lost a couple times, they start shooting at you, you damn soon turn.
I bet. Yeah, that would be motivation.
You run awful fast. So.
Yeah. So was that just your main duty when you were in the field regiment, was riding the bike and delivering messages?
Yeah, after I got posted to the 13th Field Regiment, that was my main job, was a dispatch writer.
Mm-hmm.
I took messages from the guns to the OP, which is the observation post, back and forward. And once we advanced, then we have to set the guns and tanks all up, and I was on duty for messenger boy, so to speak, on a motorcycle.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the next question we have, when we were talking about what you did in the war, you mentioned the announcement about the Great Crusade.
Yeah, that was Eisenhower.
Yes. So we have that quote here. It says, "You are about to embark on the Great Crusade.
I can tell you that one.
The eyes and ears of the world are upon you."
There you are. Yeah.
Can you tell us what it was like the morning before you were hitting the beaches? What was going through your mind?
Well, I'd never been to hell before, but that morning was. Yeah.
It was close.
I don't like to talk about it because.
Of course, yeah.
See, when I got off the landing craft, I had my motorcycle tied onto the back of a tank. And the boys jumped off and gave me a hand to get it off because it's only natural. You can't carry a motorbike.
Can't carry a motorbike over your shoulder.
So it was so I was with the tank outfit. That was my job. And they give me a hand, and when I hit the ground, then I'm on my own. Like when you're a dispatch writer, you're like you're fighting the war yourself.
Yeah.
You're not with your buddies anymore. You're all over.
Independent. So we talked a bit when you were telling us about when you enlisted and you got the big uniform that fit you like a tent. So I'm sure you were issued a new uniform.
Oh, yeah,
later.
You do. And you take it to a tailor and get it altered or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever you can.
Yeah.
But,
so is that the same? Did you keep that uniform for most of your time, or get new ones periodically?
Pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So.
Yeah, but we had gas masks to carry, and we had steel helmets, and they were all camouflaged, not on them, all camouflage. And we used to have what they call the shell dressing, which is a big dressing. And we shove it up in under the camouflage net on the hat to carry. Because we had stuff on our backs and our rifles and
place to keep
belts, ammunition, and
I
tell you, it wasn't like just running down the road. It
wasn't light. Yeah, I'm sure it weighed a lot.
No, you had to have all that equipment. So. And what else? Like we had, as I said, we had lots of training in Scotland and England, and well trained. We know how to fight, but in all our training, there was nobody shooting back at us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We go out in maneuvers and all. Nobody bothered us. But when I get off that barge in France, the Germans were shooting back at us.
That's not what they trained you with.
It kind of made us mad, see?
Yeah.
So you get a Canadian mad, well, look out.
Yeah. So the next question we have is, how did you adapt to military life, including the physical regimen, barracks, food, and social life?
I'll tell you, just about 3 or 4 words. It only took about a month or 2 to make a man out of a boy. Sergeant, you obeyed orders. Discipline, discipline, discipline. Without discipline, you just like you're raising a little child. Once in a while, you give him a slap in the rear end or something because he's bad. But if he didn't have that, he'd he'd grow out half wild. You know,
Yeah.
let him do what he likes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to have discipline.
Yes.
So that's it.
Before you went into combat for the first time, were you nervous or scared? Like the first time when you What a question, right?
If you weren't scared, you weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Believe me.
And how did you like to spend your spare time?
Drinking beer and chasing women.
Well, that is one way to do it.
Okay. That wasn't what you expected. But really, we didn't. We were just young lads. And there are lots of pretty girls in England.
I bet. Did you write home often? Did you send letters home?
Yes.
Yeah?
No, about once a month we get a chance.
Just back to family?
Yeah, mother and father.
That's interesting. Do you have any of those letters still?
Oh, no.
No, they're gone.
No.
Interesting.
I have my discharge papers. You want to see them?
Yeah, that would be very cool.
Well, they're 75 years old now. That's all right. Sit still.
We are on the hunt right now. My grandfather served in the English Air Force.
Oh,
and
they were good
we're looking
fighters.
for his
They were good fighters.
we're looking for his discharge papers right now. They've somewhere disappeared into the void.
There they are, right there.
Oh,
These
wow.
are 75 years old.
They don't look a day over 60.
I feel more than that. Yeah, you have to put it together.
Of course. Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. That's very interesting. They feel...
I should go and get them redone and.
Well, they're fine. We have a piece from an article that was published about you here. And it says, on July 29th, 1944, at the Battle for Caen, during intense enemy shelling, you were hit with a blast and thrown against a truck, losing consciousness. You only remember waking up in a field hospital. Your left leg was mangled, with the tibia busted to bits. You don't know how the doctors coped that day, as soldiers were being brought in by the hundreds, many bleeding profusely with serious wounds. Many had their legs or arms blown off. You were unable to walk, but you were alive. Your service to his country was over. After reading that back, what was going through your mind when you woke up in the hospital?
I'm going home.
Yeah.
I'm going home.
Relief.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Get out of that mess. If ever another war, give the politicians a gun, let them fight. Leave us for kids alone. Yeah. No, I don't mean it that way. I mean, like you kids, be a politician, fight like hell. We don't want these wars. They're terrible, terrible. And if you, I'm not, well, it's hard for me to put it, but I'm not sorry I went over, but I don't want to do it again. You know, it's just.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
You know. So when I found out, like I walked around in a pair of crutches for about 5 or 6 months, because my legs were bad, you know. And the field hospital, when they did come around, there's so many guys going in there, well, they were a hell of a lot worse shape than I was. So the doctors look after them. Because I knew from my legs, I was buggered up my both legs, but my left leg was the worst. I knew I could get that, it could be better, but guys, no, we won't talk about it.
Other guys, yeah. So what were your living conditions while you were overseas?
Well, if you like bully beef and hardtack, they were good. So that's about it.
Yeah. This question from a student, I'm assuming, wants to know how you were able to sleep when there was so much going on around you?
Every time you had what we call a gun emplacement, we were ordered to advance, and then the Germans have a counterattack and try to drive us back, and then we covered. But everybody was issued a little shovel. And when we parked the tanks, you dig a hole, get in. Like just below the ground. Because most of the shells, they won't explode until they hit the ground and it goes up. So if you're just under the ground, but towards the end they had skyburst. They got smart, they were exploding over our heads. But when I was in Normandy, everybody, as soon as you stop, you dig a hole. Now it'll only be maybe 6 by 3 feet, but as long as you're down a foot, just skip below the ground surface.
That's enough.
Because the shell exploded besides and it goes up. Mind you, get roughed up a bit, but...
What was the most impressive place that you saw while you were overseas and you weren't fighting? What was your favorite?
Well, I don't know. I seen Buckingham Palace.
Buckingham Palace, that's a cool one, yeah.
Yeah. I've when you're near, but you're behind, outside of the gate. Were you there?
I've been to Buckingham, yeah.
The gate, you're wire steel fence.
Yeah.
And then there was a pub up in Leeds in England. They called it the Robin Hood. Very impressive.
You like that one as well?
Yeah, yes.
That's cool.
All the boys used to head for there when they had a couple of days leave.
The next one says, you've been back to where you fought now a couple of times, including the anniversary of D-Day.
Yeah.
Can you describe what it's like to go back to there and where you fought?
Well, that big house, I can remember getting off the landing craft and going right up around that big house. It's what they call Canada House now. Maybe you were there.
Yeah, yep.
Oh, that was
I know which one you're talking about.
Yes, house, yeah.
Yeah.
We landed right in the shores, right in front of it.
Wow.
It's quite a building now.
Yes, yeah.
As a matter of fact, there's pictures of it. You've seen
Cool.
them anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. We have this photo of you and your buddies in the regiment at Pembroke 809 in Petawawa, dated 1941.
Yeah.
You're the 6th person from the left. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you are.
That's right.
Looking at this photo, do you remember anything about that day?
Oh yeah, like Petawawa, like when I was there, it was a great big sand heap, sand all over. Mm-hmm. But excellent to train with a motorbike. Mm. When I was on duty over there, we were on the roads, but most of the time we was cross country, through farmers' fields and shell holes and.
Yeah.
So it's no, and all those guys I wouldn't remember because it's so long ago. And
wow.
See, and the front group right at the front there, these ones here, they're usually the sergeants. They were training us how to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can see the difference in their uniforms.
Yeah.
Wow, it's interesting. Thank you. So when our producer met you a few days ago, you showed him this photo of you looking out over rows upon rows of mass graves. Yeah. And you said that, quote, "This is an awful sight that is everywhere over there." Can you expand on that for people who've not seen these cemeteries?
I thank God I should have been in there. I'm not exaggerating. I should have been in there, but I was lucky. Mm-hmm. And if anybody said they weren't, I don't know. I'll tell you my experience. When I go and I walk up and down the road, and tears stuck on my eyes.
Yeah.
That should never happen. That's terrible, terrible.
The wait there is.
Yeah. So emotional. You can't hardly contain yourself,
Yeah.
Because I know through experience how they got there.
Yeah.
See, it isn't like I'm old now. I'm over 95. So if I pass away, I've lived my life, you know. But when that was taken, I was only 19 years old, you know. It's kind of hard for me to express my feelings, but I know it's very sad, very sad.
Yeah. With today being Remembrance Day, what does that mean to you?
Well, it means that you get a day to get out with your comrades, maybe have a beer or two, and talk a little bit about the war, not too much. Like, I used to go to the Legion, you know, a few of us, and we yak about our experience, but like they were in the same boat as I was. That, you know, just hashing things over, and, you know. But when you see, I lost my wife about 8-9 years ago. That was Sally's mother, and that's we didn't talk very much about the war. All my children, I never talked about the war. I just pray to God that they never have to do it. That's all. So it's that's my own personal feeling, and I think every soldier that was in through that mess has got to feel much like I do.
Yeah.
You know?
Very common feeling.
So I don't know any other way I can put it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Again, that was Sir Harold Rowden, a World War II veteran who sacrificed his life to go fight for Canada overseas. A beyond huge thank you to him for taking time out of his morning to come in and talk with us. He and many others are why we are here today, so again, thank you for coming in and thank you for all that you've done for our country.